Well, I've got this new mould, and it's one of the really hard moulds, and it was recommended to me by one of my members, and I'm going to cast in this using 2 different casting materials. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is spray it with a good coating of mould release, so whatever I put in here is going to come out really easily. And this is a mask that one way it looks unhappy and the other way it looks all really happy, so I think it'll be a fun one to do. All I'm using is a good silicone mould release. Now the other thing is, this mould isn't going to sit like this because of obviously its shape. Because it's a rigid mould, it's no problem. I can take 2 silicone jugs like this and balance it on there like that, and then still get a nice even pour. But what I do need to do is create something here and here to prevent this completely filling up. Now, there is an easy way to do this and there is a hard way to do this. You could cut out an exact replica of this and slide it down, but I ain't got no time for no messing about. So what I'm going to do is a lazy version of being able to do this, and I'm going to put a back on this mould so that I can put it up this way while I cast this bit, and I can put it up this way while I cast that bit, and that's going to be fairly easy to do. All I need to do is cut my piece of acetate, and I've got a quite firm acetate this time as opposed to a soft acetate because this is going to be more rigid in the back. All I need to do is cut that so it'll fit, and that should fit in there nicely. It does, look, there we go. So there's a back, and I need to cut 2 pieces. Now I want it to be the same depth each one, and then I want the eyes to be a different material. So all I need to do is make a decision on where I want this to fill up to, and I want it to fill up to about there, I think. Yeah, that's going to be perfect for me. Now I am going to measure this because I want to make sure that I've got it nice and straight. Put that on there. So all I'm doing is measuring across there and then cut that. Now fit in there perfect. And then I can cut the other one, so it's exactly the same size. Can't see it, it's getting clear, look. Before I can glue this down, what I need to do is remove any of that silicone spray or mould release from this mould. And all I'm using is a bit of 99% alcohol going around there and going around this whole edge to ensure that that is off there. And then I've done it once. I'll let that evaporate and dry off, and then I'll quickly go over it again. There we are. So that should have now cleaned all that off there nicely, and it will allow these 2 pieces of plastic to stick to this really well. And all I'm going to be using is one of these glue things here to put that on with, and that's going to fit in there like that. So I can mark that top to know where to glue to. Now I can roll my glue all the way around. Some bits down there for safekeeping, definitely a bit across the bottom. Pop that in there like that, lay that down flat and push that down where it's all been glued. Before I do the other side, what I'm also going to do, just to give it a little bit of extra safety, is stick some tape all the way around as well. Not that I don't trust it, but you never know, do you? I don't think this is going to take too much ResinCrete. To be honest, it's probably only going to take about 100 grams each side. It might take a little bit more, and if it does, I can always top it up. I'm going to do 100 grams to start with, and that will mean I will need 30 grams of water. And I'm also not going to colour this because I want it to be the really brilliant white that ResinCrete cures. So it's 100 grams of powder, 30 grams of water, or 32 grams. That'll be absolutely fine because you can go up to 35 grams if you wish. I'm going to mix this in so that there's no lumps or bumps. It mixes so quickly and so easily, it is not a problem. And now all I'm going to do is pour this in there. Let's have a look. No, I was right, look. Oh, couldn't have been more. Oh, look, a little bit of overflow, but that doesn't matter. And now I'm going to leave that propped up there for 20 minutes or however long this takes to cure. That's nearly finished curing up. And what I'll do is once that's cured up, I'll mix my resin. But I thought it was really important to say, when you're adding resin to any sort of thing like ResinCrete or any of those sorts of products, you're going to get a much better result if you add the uncured resin to the ResinCrete rather than the ResinCrete to resin. because this, once it's cured, creates a really flat, shiny surface, and this isn't going to adhere to it very well. Well, this is all cured now, and it's been curing about half an hour. What I've got is a little pot of sand here, and how I'm going to keep this level is just by adding that onto that sand like that. Taking my level, well, that's not a bad guess, was it? And checking that out, and there we go, we're all right there, and I can pour my resin in, and I haven't got to worry about knocking it over, which I would have done by propping it up onto those two silicone mugs. Now I'm going to mix up my resin, and this is a 1-to-1 resin, this Jade Action ×3 UV Protect. So really easy to do, 1-to-1 by volume. Add a tiny bit of mica powder to this, not much, because I want this to be transparent, and that's a blue mica powder. Give that a mix in, and I'll give it a tiny little bit of shimmer. Then I'm going to add some blue transparent pigment to it. Give that a really good mix in, because I don't want that to be streaky, although if it turns out streaky, hey ho, whatever. And now, of course, I'm going to add a little bit of glitter in it. Not a lot, which is unlike me as well. And now these two sides are cured, and we can add this to it. Now pouring it in a little bit slowly until we've got it virtually to the top. And there we go. That is now touching those two side bits and touching that. And that's not going to make any difference whatsoever. I'm going to quickly go over that with a long neck lighter, bursting any bubbles that have come up to the top. And now leave that to cure overnight. And that should be ready by the morning to demold. Some of that glitter will have definitely sunk down into the bottom, but I don't mind about that either. Well, this should all be cured now, and it's just a case of taking it out of its mould. So let's remove that sand. Now, there will be some sand stuck to the bottom of this that will come off everywhere, but I'm not too worried about that. And now it's just a case of removing this from this mould. We have got a little bit of sticky left on this mould, and that will come off using some 99% alcohol, and I will remove it, because if I do it again, then I may want to put it in a different place. But that worked so well for this. It's going to come out really easily. Now, I can't get this out of the mould, which is a problem, because I didn't really want to damage this mould. But it was a cheap mould anyway, so it's not like it's going to cost a lot. And I really like this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out of this mould, which isn't ideal, and certainly is not the way I had planned it to go. But I'm not going to demold it, cut it out, and then lie and say, oh, it worked a treat, because it didn't. Well, I really like how that's come out, and the glitter and mica powder worked really well in the centerpiece. I love the fact that if I'm feeling grumpy, I can put it up that way, or if I'm feeling happy, I can put it up that way. I just think it's fun. It's such a shame that I had to break this mold. Thankfully, it was a really cheap mold. But what I am going to do is make a silicone mold of this, and I'll do a separate video on how to do that. And it's really easy. You can do that with anything. As long as you're not selling the mold, then you're absolutely fine. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to boot that like button. It really helps my videos to get out there. And share this video as well, as much as you can. That also helps. Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. All the links for everything I've used today are in the description below. Take care. Enjoy your resin. Bye.